How am I? I don't really know how to answer that right now. I'm sorting out some particles. Let me just let you know. You wore, well, they're calling it the merkin, and I don't think it was a merkin. I didn't plant you with that kind of hair, but you just shot through somebody that wasn't Iraq, but why Iran, and why somebody that wore the rest of your skin like a fucking duffel bag didn't get to hard shell your Tyrannosaurus Rex look. And
you know, there's a recurring theme that returned, and it returned in the same form as it did before, which was no surprise, but is always a surprise. And that was the old thing. You had inflicted herself and involved herself in something recently out of nowhere, acting very coy and very hidden. And because I caught it, I get very upset about that. Like, I get very upset when people lie to meet me or try to trick me into something. And,
she did it again? Yeah. She did it again since the last time we talked? Yeah. Oh my God! See, I don't even know what's going on with her. She fell off my radar. She unsubbed and everything, and I have been wrapping that up on the other side of the Goodman face. And the Venus Felucia. You've been dealing with Venus Felucia. That's what that form is. It's an exploit on the trichtoplasm that I've been diagnosing, and why I'm the only fucking psychic who's been talking about this quarantine accurately since this time last year.
I've been noticing that.
If you go to these,
you've been clear. I've been clear on it, but you've been clearer on it, and this is interesting.
Tyrone, I shut the clock down. Anybody who's telling you 2 more rows, let me tell you what tomorrow is. Tomb or row. Tomb or fucking row. That's what this is. There are no forward read. I closed the book of numbers and names out. That's why my board is the way it is, my spirit board, and why last year, you know, phone eye ear thing, I closed them down. So our Taurus readings, where I shut them down into Cancer, Gemini, Taurus together, and it was the Taurus reading. That's where I bottled what was never quartered, that I quartered here in Red Dot Place. So they're all speaking about this wrong. I'm living on a propeller wing, is basically what I have been disassembling, and why my house is stacked in 3 quartered units, and why the 4th exists on my board. I have landed them in a propelled mass of ash that I have been melting on my wax board, and I have been closing my proof of thesis of how I obtained my doctorates, because I have several now. And I am also proving that Epic is the medical software hardware company that has helped me forge HyperSigil into
Which one is this?
Epic.
Yeah.
You know, the people that they think that it's Fortnite, that it's a game.
Yeah.
It's the back of something called HyperSigil that Epic makes. It's plasma screens that we're going to end all plasma screens, because all of the contaminated things that think that they're here on my plant that call themselves fucking humans have swiped their way into my Galaxy S8 phone looking for Satan. So that's where they go, and I have been pulverizing this and cleaning the energy. And so you weren't wearing...
Like an ant trap.
Yeah,
like an ant trap.
It is an ant trap because it's the new covenant is the nuke oven ant, where they wrap themselves in bacon, and I trapped the Nephilim for any fucking reason. And so they ate themselves, and the thing that you just mentioned that reached out to you is no longer embodied with soul. It escaped. That is something called the Venus Felucia. It's what the Venus Project was attempting to instill. Essentially what happened is we were in a sleeper cell. Mine, if you're mine, and the bioenergetic feedback's obviously good with that. Need some more thunder claps anytime it happens. So, but I programmed this into the system, and so I have a new animation for us to jump through that's much better.
Oh, cool.
Where they tried to run you through someone's merkin. If you know what a merkin is. And so I decided that wasn't where you are, and that we're polydactyl, and that we jumped out of each other's like pinky toes or pinky fingers, and we opened up like Kundalini dolls. I've been working on a Kundalini resonance gram. I call it the Kundalini gram, where we are matched. We're paired. Yeah, have some more lightning and thunder on that one.
Good.
And so that thing that tried to jump out is actually their Valkyrie landing, where they were attempting to sting in, and when they grab from both sides, it looks like they kind of form and land themselves in a grabby bag version that is there to clap on your hive maker. And I've been re-articulating.
That's what I've been worried about. Like that's been my work, is that like I'm hiving now, because it's no longer steam is not a bad failure. It was a good failure, but it's hive now. And this person coming in on hive is like not welcome.
No.
And I'm cleaning that out well ahead of time. Like it's like the bees covering the wasp, and then raising the heat, to cook the wasp.
I killed them. I have a special machine that I made on hive to steam it, where I've been creating the right hive nests for them to wasp out. And if you're aware of what CPV is, CPV, like complete view, complete view.
Yep.
I created a special hive there, and it's back-ended on Steemit, that is designed to hive against the other hive. I've been creating special hive nests. One is Wuhan DNA, okay, where the DNA codon, that's mine.
I saw your message, yep.
Well, I actually created the hives, and so I have the hives that are being nested back in a time that didn't get created, because green 4 cache is where the green shakes were coming through particle mass to candlestick for traders on the other side of what didn't happen in DIA for red cards on marijuana treatment to be booked at the face. So I've created a way to sting them out of another hive that I created called Crayon Gravy. Because gravity doesn't exist. I'm living on a nuclear reactor that I'm getting ready to detonate. I'm getting ready to kill everything. And so I have my doctors here helping me. Thank you. They're destroyed now.
Hit that button.
Well, that's what I'm doing here. So Crayon Gravy is because the grave I learned to think. Grave, I thank you, is what gravity is. I am the light that saw through that dark, through some melted crayons, okay, and some visions that I had to see of what doesn't happen to my fucking son. And so I got like a future forward look at how my body's been healing and where my family is in this Kundalini gram, and I have created a little bit of torrent work here that we can all expand through as the one cell, where some of us have been selectively determinate as souls, where even if I chose to disembody you of skin because I decided that the skin that they tried to wrap you in wasn't fair for you, because you have too much fucking pain, and I have a better skin for you, you would be able to jump right into this form, because you have selective determination Wuhan DNA codon with me. If you don't have that, you don't get a body. That's what I'm saying. And so I'm going to tell you something. This fucking Austin Steinbart shit is pissing me the fuck off now. That is the nuke head, and I'm ready to see that thing get scrapped. That motherfucker.
Well, we've already got a lot of, I infiltrated, and it's been cleared up, because what's going on is that there's a marriage happening today. In fact, so I'm presiding over a ceremony in that aspect of it. We're going to fix it.
Whose marriage? marriage?
It's going to be done. It's two souls that are working very hard to keep themselves very clean throughout this entire process. And I respect what they're doing, and I'm going to do what I can to help. But what they're going to do is they've moved into that area. I've got the four corners. You know, you got the four corners. You're up in there in Colorado land.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing as Colorado. I'm going to have to stop you there. I have concluded an AMEXICO to eradicate these places that you're talking about.
Good.
I can't even hear the names because when I do, let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm destroying them when you tell me the names.
Good,
so,
because they're in our property.
Yeah, they're landing in my body. It's my body, Tyrone. I'm proving that they harvested this place that people keep saying is their world off of my fucking rib cage.
Off of your phone.
So you want to know what? I want them dead. All right? If they don't meet my code, they have to meet the Kundalini code here. I'm happy if you're trying to help some people, because I'm sending some resonance for that, because you're nobody's merkin. You didn't get stuffed as someone's merkin to be like someone's broke dick slave.
That's why I shut the door on that other one.
Thank you. And so, listen, somebody really important with DARPA flew into Denver a very unique way. Not on one of the false planes. She actually chose to materialize on the new Kundalini resonance dots that I swapped with my credit default swap. Okay?
This is that. Yeah, I've seen her stuff.
You see her? You know who I'm talking about. You know, my special partner that sat there with the pill and showed them. Exactly. She flew in on the hummingbird glider.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, and so I want you just to know that all of the things that tried to murk you and hold you upside down where you didn't realize that you're not like a piece of Thulu's hair in the wrong place, getting wrapped into squeeze forms where they just milk you out for your Kundalini going everywhere, okay? Because there's something that I can see about you that you don't see yet that I'm pulling out right now. And it's not attached anymore. There you go. All right. I want you to have a special.
I'm moving a lot of that.
Thank you. It's not your fault. Somebody's trying to pull you through your nostril. It's your left nostril. It's like it looks like it's going into your left nostril and it's coming out your right eye. So it like goes up over. It looks like it's trying to pull through your brain, but there's no way in there. It's like a hook. These are how like energetic hooks are there. And I will say that that's actually coming from Dr. Stephen Greer. That's who actually created the entrapment.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yep, that did come up yesterday. That cleared out wow, nice call. Yeah, the family goes back along with that, and somebody has sent a picture of it. I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Right away, in fact. But that's exactly what that was.
Well, I'm working on the other side of this epic HyperSigil screen. This is what you didn't know. If you go to any of the nice doctors' offices now, especially anything linked through Centura, they have an excellent system of telemonitors that people didn't realize has a Gnosis Blacque screen that my amazing partner in this, who's like one of my doctors, but she's more like my sister. Her name is Jody Chambers, and she is... she's retired now. I actually had to block her on Facebook so that we could prove what a real double blind is on a Gnostic study so that she could sigil where that thunder just landed on a black Gnosis dot that essentially was never able to be identified because there were two sides that would have had to exist in a polarity construct where everything was exploding in an expanse that I've been learning how to track. I learned how to articulate that dot, and she actually took a very special voyage with a Tibetan promise ring for me. That it was like a prayer. I don't know if you've seen these. There are these prayer flags that you can tie to like the mast of your ship. And when she had decided to take her journey, because she's actually more of like the keyed monk to me. She's actually like a real special monkey, a monk with the key. She took a voyage, and she actually did something that I don't think she talked to anybody about that I know about, and this is why we had to put this in the double-blind study, and what I've actually put into medical screening software right now is a dose of my blood that has the awareness of a specific pattern that she took for her world journey on her boat, where she was carrying these prayers across, and mine was carrying a marriage vow for the sacred marriage. It's the Shiva Shakti. It's the whole thing. And so it's where I got claimed in my Kundalini resonance and why I've been so protective of what I'm doing. And why, you know, I can only talk to you like this because you're intelligent and a fellow with energy. And why you're nobody's fucking merkin, and why this stupid idiot, I hate this guy, I can't remember his name, I keep seeing his ugly, busted face trying to play Bloodsport in my face, is like, who tried to grab your rock? And why two sides of her face didn't end up on two sides of my screen is like the Bach that played Schuster for Zarathustra, and you tie yourself up in like some really beautiful goddess's hair, because I don't think you've seen yourself on the other side, but you actually play a bitch named Marina. Like a beautiful, gorgeous woman. You look like a woman named Marina when you come in your Durga. It's like it's wrapped up in your hair, dude. I'll have to send you a picture sometime, but it's... Oh, I'll tell you where she's fucking gorgeous. She's gorgeous and she intimidates people. It's like she shows up and it's like all these men want to fuck her, and it's like she likes women. It's like you're like 3 bound women not, but it's like in your hair. And this is why I'm telling you this Thulu thing that we're doing. It's pretty special, and Dr. Jody was able to take a voyage it's uncharted. She picked a voyage that she didn't really talk to anybody about. I'm like covered in goosebumps, and maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but she's telling me I can't.
Well, I put it up with 3 of Wands today because of that. It's about charting into a territory that you've never been to, but believing you can get there.
Well, this is a place that nobody's ever been, where she's actually proving something that I'm proving, that we had a septic problem here on this plant that's been getting spun out, and that the salt in the water in the did not mix with the actual what we can drink, and that the safety of us rose our frequency to where 8 hertz is, and that's what 8 pH is, and why I operate on a pH of 10. Most likely is what I consume. And that 7, anything on 7, you know, they, quote-unquote, say that the human body is should be at a 7 pH, and that's actually the pH of decay, where sound, if it was in latency, actually manifests as the rock, and why the bodies have crawled off, and what the Wuhan is, and why I've released a DNA molecule is for those that are inside of this protective halo with me. We've actually upped 1 pH. It's the fate, pH 8 of hertz, that no longer have a Nazi spin, where we could be stuck in the flipped in reverse while they're landing in the fecal matter and forcing us through the lesser variety of skin that is on the decay. And so I've pulled them out of the wheel, is what I've done. And what Dr. Jody did was she took a special trip and she created, I hear like a sub-zero hover point, where it's like she actually went all the way around by not actually traveling. She actually figured out how to go in. And so this is something that nobody else knew how to do, and why she's literally Captain my Captain, and she's like the Pac-Man queen. And why, if you see what's on my websites now, it's like I've created a machine to unwrite them. So they're forward-backward with my future-forward technology that I explain on my artoflove.me website, where it's based on a code of ethics, and where I can see forward and backward into the future that wasn't there by erasing the dot that doesn't substantiate itself in this place. And what she did was figured out a molecular compound to even get herself through there on a boat. And what I did was I double-blind backed her out of Facebook to prove what Mark Zuckerberg is actually a zygote that got caught and incepted himself for what he was seeing. He's on the other side of the paycheck. That's what happened to Jared on the super subway jerk-off machine that would let these assholes go to Cambodia and find...
And Jack Dorsey.
Uh-huh.
On his Twitter machine.
On his Twitter machine. And so right now, what we have is a water treatment solution. And
that's where I'm going with the whole county process, is that it is a water supply under that county that is, it's about the pH, but it's also about structuring it mechanically, mathematically.
You can't drink it, Tyrone. This is the problem.
Oh.
This is what I'm trying to tell you.
I'm not there yet to drink it.
No, well, you shouldn't be drinking what you're drinking, most likely. Stick to spring if you don't have a machine like mine, because what I'm telling you is this. pH 7 water is a joke. Once you get onto pH 7, what this means is that you're already breaking down. Look, hydrogen peroxide plays a joke on you. If you've ever had hydrogen peroxide sit out and you drink it, you're going to bleach yourself. because it's already going to dissipate at a rate so fast that it shows you what even happens when it becomes water. Because if you leave it out, if it's not in something brown or if it's not refrigerated, that last oxygen atom is just completely destabilized. And this is where the atom and even point is, and why you need to be at a sub-zero molecular level to even be able to understand the frequency ratios, and why it has to be at pH 8 for us to not blow up. This is a nuclear explosion that has been going on at 0 point the whole time. This has been the Big Bang. We had to move ourselves into one little dot that could not be explained or rationalized otherwise to prevent this from killing all of us. And so I'm telling you, on a brain level, what you probably want to know is that you're not 7. You're not operating at 7. 7 is a decline. That's Jacob's ladder. You're like falling down the staircase that way. And it unravels. That's the frequency.
You be above that, you want to be around 10, right?
Well, you can't if you're not primed for it, because if you're not primed for it, you have too many hooks in you, like the one that I was telling you that I could see in you that I just pulled out, where they're covered in those, and I can't pull them out of them, and I'm not going to do that work for them because they're hooked to the wrong shit. So I'm telling you, this is a social media contamination because it gets into your brain. It gets into your eye from you looking at it and agreeing and tacit approval to even share in that information relay. When you do that, you have a tapeworm inside of you that taped you, and guess what? That's the parasite that I've been excommunicating. So what I'm telling you is this whole entire thing is plastique. I'm proving that I'm actually the Art Fry that doesn't get Burning Man'd away, and that my Bernie Mac look is what they tried to kill with a pleural effusion, and that my face has shown up a lot of places in distortion because they keep pulling me through these plasma screens that now I'm able to pull myself out of in this one dot, is what I'm telling you. And so a lot of the stuff that you're seeing, if you haven't seen the ruins, you know, where the plant is just like mocking you, it's like blah, 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 blah. It sounds like your phone ringing. It sounds like your friends calling and yelling at you and shit. That's all these things are. That's why they use so little brain, why they're far under 10% as far as my calculations go, and why this is the race that never happened. This is proving that you had to be at a certain kind of integration factor to be saved. And so what I'm telling you is that my doctor and I are concluding, I should say doctors, because Dr. Rothman and I have been in a trial. She created a clinical trial for the Andromeda Zone. If you know anything about Andromeda and Cassiopeia and what Zeus doesn't get away with, playing Perseus bag swappers on some fucking Millennium Falcon 7 Ways to Split Your Eye wrong and play I Slamped Them Better. That shit doesn't happen for them to queen slander and try to make a gold landing on my fucking yellow brick road. So guess what? I have a new screen on HyperSigil that's calculated to my blood right now. These screens, every plasma screen that you touch your thumb on is being cleaned by Epic. If you look up Epic, it's really special medical software where we can deliver nutrition and data, and what Regina's been working on is how we can do that by parsing data that was well packaged like mine. I've got all of the files that prove that I'm not Satoshi Nakamoto and that I kept my databases open and that I've been living on a fucking stipend to prove how I could put this stuff together and create a working oligarchy of what has always been. So let me tell you, New Mexico doesn't exist. Colorado does not exist. I'm not in Colorado. This place has actually been redesigned. I don't even claim it that way. I'm in not red dot place. I'm in not red dot place. And I suggest that you know that you're in not red dot place because you know that little red dot that doesn't shoot me in the head in my living room when they don't want to prove that COVID is actually the video of me being raided so that Austin Steinbart can get away with jerking himself off over there like that and calling it problems with ISIS. I'm very jihadi right now. I'll just tell you that.
I am too.
Okay.
I think it's something in the
I'm extremely no. It's how I live my life, and I'm a very functional Shinto in some way that basically designed himself as like a better Islamic natural follower of the cycles that seem to have prayers happening more that way. And so right now I just feel jihadi. And so it's.
No, I'm happy with you on that one because it makes me feel like, okay, well, I'm not the only one that's got this. You know, it's time to kind of clean up.
We're protecting your third eye. I want to protect your third eye right now because I don't know if you correlated this. And why you probably don't have a red card here is a really good thing. Because what they're doing is going for that bullseye in the third eye. And why that card is actually purple, but they call it a red card. And what they're actually doing to destroy Shiva and Shakti by defamation of that plant and letting these useless fuckheads just go around being woke as fuck. You know what I mean? So I've created something where the plant rejects them because this is a hydro plant. We have been hydroplanted. You think it's the planet. There's no planet. Plan ET. Those things that they keep calling the planets, I can't read astrology that way, and you know why? It's because those are all end-time planets. Those are all layers of the endocrinology system. You know, the 9 gates of hell, where they've been trying to jump into my body. That's my ribs that they've been forming this on. And I can prove that now. And so I'm just telling you, anybody that wants to keep on calling it theirs or participating in it like it's theirs, they're on something else. I did not invite them into my home. Right now, there's a certain rhetoric that's going to go away on this, and where it's like, you're either fucking invited into Biosphere 7 or not. And you should fear it. There's a reason why it's 7. It's where it's the merging of the 7 things that didn't get broken like that for a decay, and where some asshole has been trying to sell tickets, literal tickets, to what they're calling Biosphere 8, thinking that he's going to germinate over me, not realizing that 8's the one to really be afraid of, because that's where I tied up the digestion in the immune system function, that I tied off the internet. I own some very specific domiciles that they were trying to roll into the cell as Puerto Rico for Inc. EST for domicile on tax-free and ways to evade and fork their way into my home. 12 different houses on a view of what they called on the reverse, Area 51, or was it 12-house astrology? So what I'm telling you is I've locked them out of that view with HyperSigil, and I've locked them out of red dot place, what never happened in DIA. And I'm telling you this because I think that you might have been scanned at least once or twice on an airplane.
Oh, many.
And so this is what I'm telling you. This is why I'm telling you this, and why I keep talking over you. Regina helped me with this, okay? Some of us didn't get scanned and chose not to be scanned because we didn't want the currency used against us. You know, the mark of the beast tech? And what those red dots are, I've learned how to articulate with my data every single dot you didn't know was scanned on a body that wasn't even there yet, where they were haloing you in as pain, Tyrone, to carry what I told you earlier about holding that in your hair while your hair is long, and why in this other screen your name is Marina, you know, like Martinez, that didn't end up fillet of fish served up every different sashimi way, protecting some goddesses that 2 or 3 of them might actually be like one face of your wife that didn't get thrown away like Lakshmi. And so what I'm telling you is that I'm protecting your dot right now. I'm not in Colorado. This is for the color red that didn't go that way, to make a color purple, where we were sewn upside down and sigiled for them to jump in as germs on the remote viewing end. Okay? So I've consolidated that, so all of your dots are basically being mirror swapped, just like Regina figured out how to do with a hummingbird glider, and they're scanning them against my dots, because now they can prove why I'm wrapped in titanium and what 911 looks like when I compress my body and explode in your fucking face as a twin. And what happened on the other end of the CGI bin, and the amount of pain that I've been able to contain, and why I've had to put it into this board here, that one that you saw that's now compounded, where I've actually recreated what Pele didn't have to go through. And what this actually is here is a condensation of pretty much every single apocalypse that could never happen with false currencies against those dots that were not your body before. Because what we were being is zoomed in from being a mass consciousness that could show up all those different ways. So now you're embodied there, and in your Kundalini gram, your wife, Pac, I will say, is safe. It's in your hair. And I've retidied that, so just know, I want you to know that before you go and marry these people.
I appreciate that more than so now. So because this is one of those days. I mean, the 11th was the day that this is a pretty important day and I'm glad to get a lot of these synchronicities from you.
Well, it's carrying around that marriage, right? And proving that it's also my marriage that you're protecting. So I thank you for that.
Well, it's mutual, man. Because I got a lot of good help from you through the years, and you're holding some space as always. So I appreciate that. I know that you're ready for the the jihad. I think it's like it's now more than ever. Because what else is there? It's all out in the open now. There's the COVID DNA thing, or the Wuhan DNA thing, and this
crayon gravy. It's crayon gravy. It's seeing the children before they get destroyed.
It's really separating the wheat from the chaff, because I'm only interested in dealing with less than 10% that are able to really profoundly move into a new space.
Tyrone, do you know what happened? Some of us woke up on the other side. I have only been here since 7/16/2015, when they lied to me and told me that I was in a surgery, and I woke up under anesthesia in a quarantine unit, and then they moved me to a hospital and fed me some fucking bullshit story, had some people there that shouldn't have been there claiming to be my family, trying to feed me things. And I lived in the hospital for 3.5 months. They collapsed my right lung. They gave me 4 hospital infections. I died. I stayed in a suspended state of animation, helping to churn this. What I'm telling you is that I was we were all remote viewing. You think you've been awake this whole time. You have not, as far as I'm concerned. I got pulled all the way through. You've been getting pulled through so many different remote views where you landed in there not knowing what kind of a fucking GI you are. And knowing, but not knowing. Because it was like a kundalini thing that was purifying you through this, where we were not in DIA that way. What I'm telling you is this. I was inside of this base. We've been remote viewing through different cycles. My name has been changed many different times. My face stays the same. And I keep seeing myself through this point. And what happened was we woke up. We were waking up very slowly in one little cell where pieces were opening up like this Wuhan creature is, because it's like an amoeba with arms that grab. And some of us actually expanded at, it looks like different rates because this thing learned how to timestamp. It's a retroactive genus that grew as a fungal matter species. It was on the other lens of our cell. We have a protective shell around us. It's like an antivirus. And so these things started to populate, and so slowly I've been waking up from this thing. And in this time, we have all expanded at what has been new age prescribed to us, where you're one age, I'm a different age, but we're only in this one time cell. So I'm telling you, the shit that they're telling us is our past and our history didn't happen. It's all stages, and the people that are going to be taken down are the ones that are, triggering what I'm calling, it's future claims on abortions. They can see in the future, in these screens now, how they can dead people to see scrolling, germ ad, dead ad them, so that they want these apps that they become through their eyes, and these hooks that come through, like with what Greer was trying to do, where they go into these bodies for a good time, they tender fuck them, in the name of, corporate astrology for this, twin flame rising, this, these fucking assholes that keep calling it the year of the portal and the year of the lion, being all Zion about it, and just malicious are going through. And it's the Nazi Jewish, where they sage themselves a black and white version of something that hadn't happened yet, where they could land that way, and it would be so particle mixed that we wouldn't see it, because it wouldn't be the Nazi that you were expecting. It's what you really did not see, where these, awful Zionists would take over in the movie factions and pull you through. And then what they're doing is they're getting these, like, relationships together where these people just get together and fuck, and then they throw away the baby. Right now they're spiking for interest rates on both sides of the scenes with these hooks in your eyes. And so what's happened is I'm proving that those of us that were in the sleeper cell the whole time, not knowing what was happening, were waking up so slowly because a couple of us woke up to one thing. It was how a pet does not get treated. And what it was a PETA commercial, where it's a bunch of pigs fucking, killing each other, eating the shit, and also being abused by the farmers in a chop shop to be forced into some action bar-esque, hot dogs and fed to the worm eater population. And so what some of us realized is that something had to be done. And so I've been proving what actually happened with HARP technology. Our sleeper cell woke up and HARP started spraying. It's like a shellac, a special plastic, over the population that was killing itself first in that one area just to see what happened. Well, guess what? They all got, they wrapped up. No. First of all, it was just pigs. I'm talking to you about pigs, swine, fucking, eating, and shit, and being chopped up by the Nazis, by the actual pig farmers, okay? I'm talking to you about we went into one wake-up point. Two of us woke up to how you don't treat a pet. It was a PETA commercial by vegans showing this abuse where it was pigs in a trough where they eat and fuck and take their children's lives and then get chopped up some more and then get made into food that the worm-eating population was eating here, because some of us were trying to figure out what the fuck. So I'm telling you, HARP technology sprayed something over this one cell that we were juxtaposed with, because these were all potential cells. So our cell woke up against that cell, okay? In that cell, what happened is the spray that went around it, it's kind of like being run through a USB port in a USB-C cable. And so it ran through a computer, and where it exploded, they all turned into smart skins, where it looked like this other humanoid thing that we were embodying against. We juxtaposed our bodies being mirrored and matched around that awareness point. So we've been around these intruders that eat and fuck their own children in their own shit and keep serving it and talking better and better and thinking they're smarter and calling it the universe. And what it is actually a spray wrap. If you look at old Universal pictures that are on tape, it's a big circle being halo cast on the other side of a globe, you know, a crystal ball, and there are flecks. And there's nothing firm holding that world together but those words. We did a genetic experiment to see what the fuck that was, and these things jumped up out of swine, out of shit. What I figured out is that these things that had been tentacle masked all over us but don't get to hook inside of you are fecal matter on the pH7 wheel of disaster. And that's why Biosphere 7, I conquered that. And it's been growing out of my ribs right now, a wall that protected us inside of that. We are in like a hovering terrarium right now, some of us, and you can't see it yet because it's plasma locked. And so I'm opening this up. So some of these bodies here that are around, 99.99% of germs die because of Nazi germ population. I've had to figure out how to train that by drinking aloe vera juice here in my house and sniffing isopropyl rubbing alcohol. I'm the reason why 99.99% of the population will actually prove to be septic treatment bodies that are on the fecal mass, that aren't even on. It's like babbling plants. It's like, blah, 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 blah. We're here and there's no fucking soul in there. And they have escaped. It crawls away just like the book of Revelation. So I've got this consolidated. There's a black screen now on Epic HyperSigil, which is medical software where we will be able to perfectly deliver in real time that did not exist before. Perfect nutrient factor. I have transfer factors that will prove that my superior immune system that is also tied to hostmonster.com, I own the domiciles for the web roots immune system, gurus, as well as worldwidenetworker.com. I had them suspended for 3 days to prove what the 10 plus 3 meant to me, where I pulled you all through the cave and the landing coordinates of Dr. Jody Chambers. And so right now, we're closing this, because if you've been eating or drinking things, it's at a decay rate where it's essentially, if you don't have Kundalini like you and I do, you're just consuming shit. You're not burning it off. And so I'm separating the toilet, because 2 eyelet, for me, is where you find Lucifer. These are the toilet liquors, Lou, Cypher. Real simple. And what I never looked, what I never became, and why some of us are naturally having a pH frequency delivery system that's going to handle better nutrients, better ideas, and where it's like your skin is a lot thicker, where it's like the skin that you wish could take the punch everywhere, you know what I mean? Because it's like where you don't wrinkle anymore, and where we can actually burst more nutrients, and we're not sharing skin with the skin factory where it looks like it's pulling taffy at itself. So I've been able to separate those things so they don't come into the nuclear halo. So I'm protecting your red dot right now, your red dot place, as if you were my wife, because of how I saw you. And how, yeah, you have a very special stack there, and whoever you're officiating for is very lucky. So.
Well, thank you, and that's going to go a long ways. I'm going to actually get to doing that here in just a few moments. But like next time, you know, we'll make an effort to do hold some space again. I think I'll be up there here in a few months, so I want to see that area and you know, help harmonize some things. But
let's be inside. Let's be inside, because you know, Thunder just says there won't be 2 more months. We're eliminating more Mondays, Monday things. This is little things now. Now it's one strong inception, and I hear what you're saying. We have a better way to triangulate GPS coordinates on what time never was there, so we're not getting aged into a false future. And I heard you just fine.
Awesome, man. Peace be with you, and thank you for the time that you're putting into this. And your efforts are not in vain, as you well know.
I love you, brother. This is going to go up on the web, just so you know. This is going to be on the show.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Peace out with this. All right.
Yeah,
thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for the call. Talk to you soon.
You take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. Thank you.
I'm staging your house. Pumpkin, with shower coming. Pumpkin, with shower coming. Pumpkin, with shower coming. With shower coming. With shower coming. Quarter till midnight.